Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for your Saturday morning Chelsea news video. I hope you guys are doing good. Get yourself a cup of coffee. My drink of choice is the Spindrift Sparkling Grapefruit. Unbelievable. 17 calories strong. We are rocking and we are rolling. I've got updates for you lot on Jorrel Hato and Xavi Simons because yesterday might have been the quietest Friday in the history of the flipping transfer window. Well, at least when it comes to Chelsea Football Club in the month of July 2025. But today, we've got big updates regarding the Hato and Simons deals. I'm also going to go through the latest on João Felix, Sterling, Kenan Yildiz, and a very interesting development, okay? Because as much as Chelsea are working on Xavi Simons, if we don't get Xavi Simons, I don't think that means that we're just going to be like, all right, summer's over, folks. Let's get cracking with the squad that we've got. Chelsea are working on other players as well, and I believe Chelsea are working on Kenan Yildiz of Juventus, and we've got some very late night news from Fabrizio Romano that dropped that we are going to discuss with you here on GBFC for your 7 a.m. upload. If you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Today could be the day that we hit the almighty height of 350,000 subscribers, and the weekend is a great time to hit those numbers. And please do hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video. But let's get in to the updates regarding Jorrel Hato and Xavi Simons. So it was a full day yesterday where I was doing a live stream, and there will be a stream today at around 1 p.m. or 1:30 p.m. UK time. So stay tuned to the channel. But there was nothing. There was no talk yesterday about Chelsea and Hato, Chelsea and Simons whatsoever. And I've got a little theory about this that I think I've mentioned before. But I think when we saw Alexander Isak becoming available at Newcastle, the news dropped that he'd asked to leave the club. He's not going to sign a new deal. He wants to go to Liverpool. Chelsea's name started getting thrown into a load of headlines. And of course, very quickly, it was shut down by a lot of the big journalists. I think Chelsea went out there and basically said, look, we know that our name drives up the price of these players. If Chelsea are interested, immediately prices tend to rocket. That's just the way it works. We're a massive club. Everyone's talking about us right now. We're world flipping champions, just to remind you. So after all of this, I don't see it as a surprise that we're also hearing a little bit of silence regarding other deals that we're working on. Very funny how all of that has kind of come into fruition after we saw those briefs about Chelsea are not in for Alexander Isak. I think right now the club are looking to move in silence, and this is the latest from Fabrizio. Chelsea maintain active talks in the background for Jorrel Hato and Xavi Simons. Both players very keen on Chelsea move, with Hato already agreeing personal terms. Xavi advanced. Talks club to club with Leipzig and Ajax regarding transfer fee. And this is also a quote from Fabrizio's latest late night video that you might have missed, but luckily you're here on GBFC. I've got you covered. Nothing is stalled or stopped for Hato and Simons. It's just a negotiation. Sometimes you don't close deals in 24 or 48 hours. Chelsea want to spend around 40 million euros for Hato. Ajax want more. My feeling is it will happen. And I have the same feeling for Simons. With Xavi, there's two discussions ongoing at the same time. One for him and one for Kane Chukwuemeka. Now, we knew this. Leipzig want Kane Chukwuemeka. They see him potentially as a replacement. The question mark is going to be, what is Chelsea's price for Kane Chukwuemeka? I think this summer Chelsea have looked at the market, realised that prices have never been as inflated as they are right now. And Chelsea are pricing our players that we're looking to sell very highly as well. But we're also not beating around the bush. We're not just going to be sanctioning little loan move here, cheers for the 2 mil, having for a season, but do we get anything out of that? Chelsea are looking for permanent sales, and Kane Chukwuemeka is one of those players we're looking to sell. So I absolutely believe here that there is nothing wrong with these deals. Chelsea are just trying to get the work done, and as Fabrizio said, not every transfer we hear Chelsea are interested, Chelsea are in talks, job done, signed, sealed, delivered. Obviously, we've had some examples where that is the case, such as João Pedro. That pretty much came out of nowhere. Pedro Neto as well. Last year, if you remember, I think it was back in August. I remember being in Miami and we signed Pedro Neto. That was absolutely wonderful. And that one hit magnificently. And Joao Pedro has hit the back of the net a few times already too. But regarding these deals, right, I don't see the silence as a problem. And particularly when we go deeper into this Chelsea news video and we talk about Kenan Yildiz and the story that dropped again at like 1:30 in the morning, 2 a.m. last night from Fabrizio, or it's still the night, I don't know when you're watching this, but it's 7 a.m. UK. There is definitely here links for Chelsea and other players. And I find it very interesting that Chelsea's name again isn't specifically mentioned here. But I am convinced, and we're going to go into various other sources as well, that pretty much confirm it is Chelsea. But anyway, Hato and Simons, we're working on it. You know what the transfer window is like. There's no such thing as a weekday, a work day. Saturday and Sunday, you bet we're going to hear updates on this today. So make sure you're subscribed to GBFC so you don't miss any of it. I also want to say a big thank you to brand new channel partner. There's a link in the description, Supreme CBD, and I've got a 40% discount code for you lot. Benson 40 gets you 40% off all CBD products at supremecbd.com. So thank you for partnering with me here on GBFC. If you do have an interest in that, the link is in the description. Let's go now into the latest from Fabrizio on the exit of Joao Felix. Negotiations between Benfica and Chelsea for Joao Felix continue as Jorge Mendes maintains excellent relationship on both sides. Benfica open to negotiating a permanent deal based on Chelsea requests. Joao keen on the move. So if we're dissecting this language here a little bit, Benfica open to negotiating a permanent deal based on Chelsea requests. As far as I was aware, Chelsea's requests were about 40 million quid, which was about the same amount of money that we spent on Joao Felix last summer. So unless Chelsea's requests for Joao Felix have dramatically changed, we've seen that the reports in Portugal this week were that Benfica were looking to offer 50% of Joao Felix's economic rights at a fee of around 25 million euros. Now that's very different to what Chelsea were rumoured to be asking for. But again, it's the same with a lot of the players here that we're looking to offload. I look at the prices, and just because they've not been playing at Chelsea, we've also got to remember the contracts that they're on, the length of those contracts. And again, as much as I would love it if Chelsea can get the top premium prices for all of these players that we're trying to offload, because when you look at the players we're trying to bring in, Hato at 40 million euros, 34 million quid, Simons at what? 55, 60 million pounds? That's 100 million on those two players. We need to try and recoup as much of those funds and fees that we're paying as we possibly can. So Benfica and Joao Felix, we know that's where Felix wants to go. So the longer we hear about Benfica in these conversations, the more likely a deal is to be done. Let's move now into this one. Fulham are interested in both Raheem Sterling and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, but Chelsea willing to wait it out a bit because there's other interest in both players, and Fulham currently only offering loan deals for them. A loan deal for Sterling and Dewsbury-Hall makes no sense. There's really no benefit there. You're not loaning them because you want them to gain Premier League experience. You're not loaning them because you want them to get game time to see if they're going to be good enough to get into the Chelsea team. And I'm speaking specifically here about Sterling, because Sterling isn't good enough to play for Chelsea anymore. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, I've nailed my flag to the mast here. I think he should be staying. I think he's a great squad player that can come on and attack, come on and help defend, and always gives 110%. Scores goals for us when he comes on too. He's a serious goal threat, Dewsbury-Hall. And I think over the course of last season, he was just on an upward curve, upward trajectory, always impressed with his performances. So I think Chelsea should keep Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. We've obviously got so many options when it comes to the midfield. And I've said this before. I think Dewsbury-Hall is good at a lot, but not great at anything specific that would take him ahead of like an Enzo or even a Lavia or a Caicedo, maybe even a Santos, to be honest. But he just does everything well. And you need players like that in your squad. And he's not complaining. So for me, Raheem Sterling needs to be sold. We saw links to Napoli. We're seeing here Fulham are looking for a loan. There's no point. The only way a loan would work is if Fulham are paying 100% of Sterling's wages, which I find very difficult to believe they would, and also no one else is going to buy him. Chelsea have asked for 20 million quid. I'm not surprised that we haven't found a buyer yet. For Dewsbury Hall, there's also been interest, I think, from West Ham. Let's see if anything materialises and develops there. But a loan to Fulham for Dewsbury Hall, I'm not about it. Let's move now into the news regarding Kenan Yildiz. Very late on Friday evening, Fabrizio Romano, the man who doesn't sleep, said this: despite approaches from 2 Premier League clubs ready for big proposals, Juventus have no plans at all to sell Kenan Yildiz. He's key part of the project. A new deal is already under discussion. First things first, I don't think Juventus have any plan to sell Kenan Yildiz. However, when big Premier League money comes in, who knows? And potentially, they also were linked with Sterling as well, right? So just going to throw it out there at the start of this part of the video here. Kenan Yildiz, very exciting player. A player that I wasn't really too clued up about, I would say, before the Club World Cup. See him in the Club World Cup, I'm sold, mate. All right, this kid is the real deal. But let's move now into the other stories that we've had across the internet. Gazzetta dello Sport, all right? Not the most reputable source you're ever going to find in the world, but considering Fabrizio said that, and then we heard this hours ago, and I'm like, I think this is probably nonsense. I spoke about it for quite a little while on my live stream. Juventus have rejected Chelsea's €65 million offer to sign Kenan Yildiz. Polymarket FC also said this: Chelsea and another top Premier League side are showing strong interest in Kenan Yildiz. These 2 Premier League clubs are prepared to make a serious offer for him. Juventus are determined to renew his contract. And they tweeted this before Fabrizio Romano did. So Fabrizio has basically said, 2 Premier League clubs ready for big proposals. We're hearing that Chelsea are one of them from other sources, and including other sources from hours ago, and 16 hours ago at the time of me getting these screenshots, which is about 21 hours ago from the time you see this video. If that is the case, it could also explain a lot as to why public business of Chelsea to do with Simons, Hato, has gone very quiet. Because Chelsea are probably working on Hato and Simons as priority signings. But like I said at the start of this video, if we don't get those deals over the line, and Chelsea aren't going to be fleeced here, Chelsea aren't going to be rinsed, and I think the proof is right here. Because we have got other options. Chelsea aren't just going to be Xavi Simons or bust for the summer. That is not the way we're going to operate. We're moving seriously in this market this summer. And I think it's huge credit, you know, because we're actually addressing positions in the squad that we needed to. We have got rid on the left-hand side of Sancho and Mudryk, and Gittins is exactly what Maresca wants from a left touchline winger. Can take players on and cut inside. And Yildiz or Simons, right? One of those 2 as well. Bloody hell. We would be absolutely cooking, to use the term of the last 2 years online. We would be serious if we got either of those 2 players. So when we're looking at this here, Kenan Yildiz to Chelsea, Juventus are adamant that he's going to sign a new deal. They don't want to be selling him this summer. So I do think this deal would be significantly more difficult, but I'm happy here to see, and again, Fabrizio doesn't say Chelsea in his tweet, but lots of other sources have been. And I do think it is purely because right now, Chelsea are trying very hard not to make anything too public, because there's a lot of ripple effects, a lot of butterfly effects happening in the window right now. Even with some of the other targets that we've potentially got, such as a Garnacho. Man United want one of our players, maybe 2 of our players, Nkunku and Jackson. Same for Morgan Rogers, who's also a player that is still being talked about. And this is a great sign for Chelsea, because as much as right now I've kind of really signed myself up on the hype train to sign Xavi Simons, because I think he's a great option on the left wing as a number 10, can also play on the right if we need to. Versatile players are really in vogue right now for Enzo Maresca in this Chelsea team. So if this is the case, Xavi Simons is the man that I want. Morgan Rogers, I think it's going to cost far too much money. And I also think he would be there competing directly with Cole Palmer for that position. And I think with Simons, we get a little bit more, potentially, right now. Rodgers, I love him. You guys know this. He's my favourite player outside of Chelsea in the Premier League. But the more I've looked into Xavi Simons, I just think it might fit a little bit better than Morgan Rodgers at Chelsea. So the latest is Chelsea might well be in for Kenan Yildiz. I don't think, and I know a lot of you will ask me this question, I don't think it's a case of both of them. That's us being greedy. We don't need to sign both. I think Xavi Simons would complete Chelsea's attack. So would Rodgers, of course. I don't want it to get twisted. I love Morgan Rodgers. I just think he's too much money. So I think Simons is a better deal for Chelsea right now. But I think it's Jorrel Hato for that centre-back, left-back hybrid kind of player, and Xavi Simons still as the priority moving forward. But let's see what happens. I feel like this weekend, because Thursday and Friday was so quiet, I do feel as though this weekend is going to be very interesting indeed, because as Fabrizio says, some deals, you don't get it done in 24 hours. You don't get it done even in 48 hours. So I believe Chelsea are doing everything they can to silently work and get these Hato and Simons deals done. And if for whatever reason we can't, or Arsenal come knocking, Bayern come knocking, it could definitely happen still, and other clubs could come in for both Hato and Simons. Chelsea are working on other things. We are not messing about. We want a strong team to compete next season. Thank you guys for watching this video. As I said at the start, we're very close to 350k. I'd love it if you could subscribe to the channel. And a huge thank you to brand new channel partners, Supreme CBD, for the Benson 40 code. Link in the description, as is also the Chelsea Megastore, with GBFC 10 being the code there. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the live stream at lunchtime. Come on, you Blues.